Hello and welcome to the final video in the MB Sports Web Tournament Module video training series. In this last video we're going to take a look at some of the advanced or the other functions that are available within the tournament module, such as roster management for each of the teams, and within that how the teams can be enabled to enter their own rosters into the site, and then how that roster information can be exported out for use in programs or other materials. We'll also show some of the reports, such as the first game report, how the schedules can be exported, and also mention how the tournament module and the game officials module are integrated in the site, so that the schedules that are in the tournament module show up in the game officials module for scheduling officials if that module is enabled. And lastly, we're going to quickly show where the MB Sports Web support community is and how you can make suggestions to the site to make improvements or to have different reports available. All that is much welcome by the MB Sports Web development team to know exactly what our users want to see and how we can make the site better for you. So back in the MB Sports Web demo site, we're looking at our tournament again. And we're looking at the Tournament Admin module on the Manage Team Rosters page. So this will show for each of our teams and each of their groups how many players and how many staff have been added for each of those teams. And if I, as a tournament administrator, wanted to add players to those teams, all I have to do is click on that team to view that team's preview page, where we can start adding players or adding staff to the team on a player-by-player or coach or staff-by-staff basis. Now what's really nice though is that we can have the managers or the coaches for each of the teams do this on their own. Now the first thing that would need to happen is within the tournament setup area on the participating teams page, we'll need each of these teams to have specified an email address to send the roster editing instructions to. In that way, we can send an email from the site to whatever's listed on this address for the Ajax Pickering team within the novice group, and that person will get a special link to come back to the website to log in their own players and their own coaches. So if something was sent in here, so let's say I was set up as that roster edit instructions person, then we can go down to this bulk email option and choose the roster edit instructions. There needs to be an address in order to trigger off the ability to send an email notice to the teams that are in here. Now, if every single team had a notification address, then we'd be able to check off more than just this team, or be able to check off all the teams. Because this is the only team that has an address in it, this is the only one that's checked, and it's the only one that is checkable. Now what will happen is if we were to send this email off to this address, it would just simply create a link back to the website, which goes to this roster edit URL, which has this special edit code. So this isn't the most secure thing in the world, but it does mean that in order for somebody to have access to the roster editing page, they will need to know this code, and this is unique for every single team that's in your tournament. So it would be very, very difficult for somebody that is not authorized to know what that code is. So on the website, if I were to go to the site using that page address, and I'm actually in a different browser here and I'm not logged in, but because I have the code on the page that I'm on, it's now allowing me to do a few things. So as the team, the first thing I'll see is that I have the ability to make changes to my roster page until a certain day, and that's that roster editing date range that you could set when you create each of those teams. And then I, as a team, can also determine whether or not I allow this roster to be displayed publicly. So the reason you might want to collect the roster information is for doing things like a program. But if you also wanted to allow the rosters to be displayed to the general public, you would need the permission of the team to do that, and they can set that themselves by just clicking that change thing, and this would enable those players to show up publicly. The managers themselves, if they're putting this information in, it's very similar to the control panel. So they click Add Player. They can put in the jersey number, the first name, last name, height, and weight. The first and last names are the only things that are required, and they can also check off the positions that those players play. And they can do Insert and Add Another and add the rest of their team. And similarly for the staff, they can say what their names are. They probably won't need to put the certifications in, but they can check off which positions that they're part of. Usually the official registration process would require an official roster from whatever governing body, so the certifications number would come in through a more official process than just by using the website. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and add a couple players and a couple staff to this team. Okay, so we got a couple players added for this team. What I'm going to do now is show how this information can be exported from the site if you need to put it into things like a program or other uses. So if we click exporting and then export player rosters, this will then show us one of the export options that's available, which essentially has the name for each player, the group name, the team name, their jersey number if entered, their first name, last name, the positions that they play, and their height and weight. So that's available for every single player that would be entered, and it will be grouped by team as they're exported. Another option would be to look at exporting team staff. So similarly, this will show the group, the team, the name of the staff and the positions that they occupy, and also if any certifications were entered, they would show up in this list as well. And the other option available for exporting is a staff and players by team. This shows a little differently. This will actually show for all the teams in the group. It will then go horizontally, showing staff 1, staff 2, player 1, player 2, going horizontally across the page. Different systems will use this information differently, and we're just trying to make it available with whatever format you'd like to see. So those are the current reports that are available. Another little report we're going to look at is the first game report. So if you've got a welcome package that you have available for each of your teams, this first game report will tell you for all the teams that are in the tournament where their first game is. So if you want to prepare a welcome package for the Hamilton Junior Bulldogs, you know that they are going to be playing their first game on Friday at 9:15 at Scott Park. Now, some tournaments will have a registration process where each team is going to go into the tournament headquarters to pick up the registration package. But if you're allowing teams to show up to their first game and providing them with a welcome package, then this report shows you where they are. In addition, you can look at the first game report by venue. And this will then say for the Shidok Blue venue that on Friday, these 3 games are the first games being played by the teams in that tournament. Now, if it happens to be where, like the Shidok Green one, these are indicating that the ones in yellow, that is their first game. This Guelph team has already played a game somewhere else previously in the day, so it's not their first game, but the Toronto team that they're playing against, it is their first game. So again, if you're going to give welcome packages available at the venues, then this report shows you that how many welcome packages you need to have at each venue, and specifically which teams they would be for. Now, back to the exporting. If you're looking at exporting your schedules once it's been imported into the site or entered into the site, then the full schedule option allows you to export the entire schedule to Excel. And this again can be useful for putting into a program or some other purpose. You have the ability to export your schedule as you need. And this would also include the score columns if any of the scores have been entered. So as we can see, some of the minor atom games are in there that we entered previously. And the last thing we'll mention is that the tournament admin module and the game officials module are integrated. So as your schedule, if you have the tournament or the game officials module enabled, as you're scheduling games for the tournament, those games do show up within the officials module to have their referees or umpires assigned to them, which is kind of nice. In addition, we have this ability to export this official's last game report. So if any of the officials were assigned, then this report would show the name of the official, the name of the venue, the date and time, and then the number of games that they had been assigned for, and their total pay that they're expecting to receive. So this would be if you're paying the officials at the tournament still. You typically would pay them at the end of all of their games, so that official's last game report shows you that information. Now, as mentioned in the introduction to this video, we're very interested in hearing feedback from the community. So if you have any suggestions on how to improve our tournament module, or have requests for seeing different exports or something that you'd like to see improved, please visit the Support Central link, which is found in the top of the control panel. It's support.mbsportsweb.ca, and visit the community page to see ideas that other people have suggested, or to vote on those ideas. Or if you don't see anything suggested here, you can go ahead and create an account with our support system and suggest your own idea. And if other people have the same idea or would like to suggest ways to even tweak your idea, then that's that type of interaction that can happen on this community. Now, the knowledge base is going to have the video series available for the tournament admin module once they've been completed, and any other videos that you might need to look at, such as how to post online forums for the site, or to do news articles or events, or anything else related to the managed site content module, can also be found within this knowledge base.